Welcome back to the booth, boys and girls. ICast 2022. I got the man, John the Toast Oast, in the booth. We're going to be talking about fishing out of the Flint. The Flint has been one of our staple kayaks for a long time. John is one of the true OGs of kayak fishing. He's got a lot of experience on this. John's right down the road from the Susky, the smallmouth factory that everybody dreams about fishing. But you utilize this kayak a lot, man. So let's run through this kind of. Why don't we start with this? How you got into New Canoe? I know we did a podcast with you in the past. So if you guys haven't seen that, you could always go back, rewatch on the Facebook, the YouTube, listen on the podcast platforms. But give people a little background on you, how you got into New Canoe, and then why you use the Flint so much.
So thanks for having me, Brian. Yeah. So excited to be back here again. It's a great year at ICast. There's a lot more people here than we had the last couple of years. Absolutely. Especially year before last. But yeah, I'm excited. Sure. But yeah, how did I get involved with New Canoe? So I've been kayak fishing now for about 25 years. Had a couple different sponsors over the years. Was with one for quite a while. I thought it was time for a change. I've known Blake from New Canoe for about 20 years. Yeah. So I remember probably 20 years ago, I got to know him really well when I lived in Virginia, the Virginia Beach area. And then I moved to Pennsylvania. I started Susquehanna Fishing Magazine, ironically. So when I moved to Pennsylvania, he and I were still keeping in touch. When I thought it was time for a change, I reached out to him. And I knew the products were awesome, U.S. made, the highest quality, great price point, and just great boats. And I knew the history of the company, and it was a family-run company. Yeah. And the team of guys that he has around him are just awesome. It's like a big family. Yeah. So hence, I'm at New Canoe now. I've been now with like 2 years. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Very cool. Very cool, man. So what led you to using the Flint so much, and what are the features on it that you really like? And the thing is, too, like, I get approached about the Flint all the time. I'm a really tall, big guy. You're a slim guy yourself, So we both love cheeseburgers, and guys are like, "Oh, that's a skinny boat. Like, how does that work for you?" So, like, let's go through that, right? Because that question comes up all the time. I'm sure you get that too, And then, why you like it so much in the rivers.
Right. So this boat is all about the most you can get in a small package. Sure. So you're looking at 11'3", sub 12-foot boat. You're looking at a 63-pound boat too. Yeah. So, I use this as my pocket boat. I've got a whole fleet of boats, right? I've got all the New Canoes. Which one do I have 4 or 5 of? This boat right here. Again, I love having that pocket boat. So you're looking at a boat. I can carry this thing with the side handles, briefcase, Again, like you were talking about, I'm a little gravitationally challenged. I got a bad foot, had Achilles surgery, all that. This boat still handles me wonderfully. I can actually stand up in it. It's not real pretty. Yeah. I can barely stand up here on a bare ground, but I can do it. So you're looking at a boat that has the packages, the full package that a lot of the other boats in the same booth here have, in a sub $1,200 price point, in a sub 12-foot size. Yeah. So I can take this, I can slide it in the back of my pickup truck. I've fit 3, maybe 4. Side by side in the back of my Silverado. Oh, okay. And I just put a strap around the back of them and winch them in. I'd go up and down the Susquehanna with them, shuttling the boats around everything. It's got all the rigging opportunity for this with the tracks. You got the decking on it, everything. You got the excellent seat. But for that size, that price, that's my pocket boat. So if I use a boat on the Susquehanna River and I'm just going for a day trip and I don't want to bring all the kitchen sink and everything else, sure, this is it. So I guess that's kind of my pitch in like 45 seconds.
No, I like it. How do you like the performance in moving water with it? I've used this on lakes, right? And, moving water is a different animal. And obviously the Susky could be raging, right? Or it could be trickling. So, like, how does that play a role for you when it comes to moving water? How, maneuverability and stuff like that?
The boat's maneuverable, second to none. I love this boat. There have been a few boats that have come out with different brands over the years that work really well in that flowing water. Sure. This is one. Yeah. So you're looking at a shorter package. So if you go into the river and you have a 14-foot kayak, you're going to have a lot of trouble picking up and coming in behind the eddies. This boat, it turns on a dime. I mean, heck, I even use a pivot drive on one.
Yeah.
You know, I got the pivot drive on. I can turn on a dime, and the way the pivot drive's set up, I can pop it up and down. It bumps into a rock, comes up and down. But I can just wedge this thing up on top of rocks. If I have to get out of the boat, obviously it's to sit on top, I can turn side saddle, stand up, and I always keep a dog leash on the bow, clip it on my side, and I just drag it through the gravel bars. This thing is amazing, but it's not one of those like super large kayaks that you want to put everything on and you're in totally like, you know, you could park a car on it, but it's a compact boat. It's very stable for the size and the dimensions of the boat, and it works wonderfully in that current, especially getting up in those eddies. And actually, if you ever have a portage, you're going to be glad you have this boat. So if you got to get out and drag it anywhere or wade fish, this is the boat you want because of that size.
Nice. Well, you mentioned pivot drive a little bit, and I know we're doing a pivot drive segment tomorrow. And right now, in the booth, we currently have it rigged up on an unlimited. Give us some reasons why you like the pivot drive on the actual Flint.
Pivot drive is awesome. I love the pivot drive. It's brilliant. You know, I don't want to use the word over-engineer, but it kind of almost is. I love the pivot drive because I can take that same boat. Today I can take it out and paddle it, clean, flat hull with nothing in it. And with the Flints, I usually keep it bare bones because, again, I'm on the river and I like to swim a lot. But so I can take it out with nothing on it and I can just float. But then I can take the pivot drive and I can have it in the back of the truck and I can actually attach it. There's no through hole mechanisms to worry about. It just kind of plug and play technology with the drive shaft. The biggest thing for what I'm doing now, mostly because, again, I'm from down south and a lot of shallows down south, but I also do a lot on the Susquehanna, which is where I live now. Either way, it's super shallow water. That pivot drive in the back, I bump into a rock and it's going to pop right up. So the hull's super durable, but the pivot drive in itself, again, nothing wrong with bow-mounted propulsion, but the stern-mounted propulsion, it just pops right up when you hit anything. So you don't have to worry about that gravel bar or that rock that you don't see that's coming right up under you.
Well, and it keeps you from buying new props, new components, things like that. You know, it's the same way with the EPS system, and that's why I love the EPS system. You know, if you hit something, it pops up, goes right back down. You know, and it saves you a lot of money in the end. Whereas, like, there's other, you know, pedal drives on the market that don't move at all. Like, you hit something, you're coming to a grinding halt and playing Superman going forward. You know, so I totally agree with what you said. So as far as features with the boat, I know you mentioned the handle on the sides with the taco clip, like being able to carry it like a briefcase. What's a couple other key components that you like with the boat?
The whole package in itself. I mean, it takes, for that price point, everything it has. I mean, obviously, you can't complain about the seat. I mean, everybody's like, oh, well, again, if you're new to kayak fishing, right? You're like, oh, how do you sit in that thing all day long? Dude, the seats, you can't go wrong.
We got a seat here. That's probably easier to see but yeah, with the support, the lumbar support in that seat, it's key.
Yeah, the seats are awesome, but the tracks, just the track locations are amazing. So if you're using any number of accessories, you just plug and play. You can go right in and put your accessories in there. Very well draining boat. Again, we're gravitationally challenged here at our age and our lives. But again, you can run it with your scupper plugs, run it without scupper plugs. That thing drains right out. You do have in-hole storage. But again, with this, I run it kind of plain Jane in this with the river. But you got, this thing you can take right out. I guess I use the term plug and play a lot. But this one is. You've already got your flush mount rod holders. You've already got 4 flush mount rod holders. You've got nice bow and stern handles on the thing. So it's easy. It's just so easy to use, and coming with the decking out of the factory and the tracks, you don't have to do anything. You can go out and you can go to your local shop, pick up a couple rod holders or whatever accessories you want, even if you need them, but you don't really, because you already got the flush mount rod holders. It's ready to go. So the features are there. I mean, even, you can throw your tackle boxes, your trays right into it. The elevated seat, you can slide your hog trough or catch board right under the seat. up into the bow. Again, that's one of the brilliant things. You probably can't see it on the video,
Right.
but just the way the thought that went into this hull of the boat, where it actually has a slot for a hog trough right to go up in the bow. And I'm the person that drops them overboard, can't find them when I'm trying to measure a fish. It's always right there.
And I love that you mentioned something in there that I wanted to backtrack to. Like when I fish this out of the river, I usually have it bare bones. I might bring one, maybe two 3,700 boxes and 2 rods. I got the rod holders in there. Usually they're on the deck in front of me. But, I mean, just a nice grab-and-go boat, run down to the river, catch a few smallies, head on home, have dinner, and go to bed, you know? That's what I love.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll put it in the back of my truck, get off work. And again, my house is like 4 blocks in the river. My work office is the same. So I'm like 4 blocks in the river. Yeah. I'll throw it in the back of the truck. I do lock it because I've had boats stolen before. Yeah. But then I'll get off work. I'll change my office, go right down. I mean, come on. You even got molded in cup holder. You don't even have to put a cup holder on it. And, of course, now you talk to my daughter, Lila. That's the first thing. How many cup holders does it have, Dad? Yeah. Sorry, you got the cup holder. Yeah. And the way that the drainage and the decking is designed, it's super, super reinforced decking on it. So you can, I mean, again, for somebody gravitationally challenged, there's no flex in that deck. I mean, it's just the package is a full package and a condensed small version.
Very cool, man. Yeah. And, you know, a few of the accessories, like you discussed the pivot drive, but the gear pod will fit in the nose of this boat, which is a key thing. They did the recess for the transducer retract in the Flint now. You got all the top load tracks are updated on the new Flints, and it's just a great all around boat, and especially an entry level. Like I was talking to a potentially new dealer earlier, right? And he was like, "Well, what's your entry level boat?" And I'm like, "It's either the F10 or the Flint." And what the beauty is with New Canoe is you can get in those entry level boats, and all the accessories you buy will transfer over to the Unlimiteds, the Frontier 12s, the Pursuits. So it's kind of cool, you know, for those folks that are maybe on the edge and like, you know, I'll get into it. And then your money's not going to waste because that stuff can transfer over too. So it's super cool, man. John, anything interesting at the show that you've seen that maybe you want to let the viewers at home know?
I think the best thing about the show this year is that everybody is back. I mean, I'm walking through here. Obviously, the New Canoe booth is, you know, looks great this year. We've got we got the totally tricked out boats here from the rigging competition. Yeah. The show, a lot of things here, you know, I don't like to use the word game changer. It's way too overplayed. Sure. But I haven't seen anything yet, and I haven't fully walked everything. I haven't seen the real game changer, like knocks me upside the head. Yeah. But just seeing old friends, seeing the companies here, seeing foreigners that are actually flying in for the show. Yeah. It's almost like a big reunion, like we just haven't seen everybody in a couple of years. Absolutely. So everybody's in a very good mood. But no, the show is great, and the display is, I think, as good as, if not better than ever before this year.
Very cool, man. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us in the booth today, talking about the Flint. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back at 2:00 to do a full detailed walkthrough with the wizard himself, Romel, on his build. And then again at 4 with Fletch Griffin to walk through his build. And then we're going to announce the results of the build-off between the two. It's been a tight race. Like, it keeps going back and forth. Like, Romel goes up a little bit, then Fletch comes back, and back and forth, back and forth. So it's going to be really interesting. So we'll see you guys back here at 2:00. Thanks, as always, for tuning in, guys. If you got any questions, drop them down in the chat. We'll look for the Q&A on Friday, and we'll get all those things answered. John, thanks again.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it. Always good to see you. Guys, we'll be back shortly, and we'll see you around 2:00 with the wizard himself, Mr. Romel Labrador. Thanks, guys.